When the rain ceased, Sugriva was crowned with elaborate rituals and festivities, robed royally and wearing a scintillating crown. Sugriva approached Rama, who had stayed outside Kishinda throughout the celebrations, and declared in a mood of deep gratitude, I am ready to serve you, sir. What is your command? Rama put his arms around his shoulders tenderly and said, Go back to your palace and to your task as a ruler. Following the custom of a senior, he spoke a few words of advice. Gather around yourself those who have integrity, courage, and judgment, and with their help, govern your subjects. Whatever you do, let it be based on the sanctioned codes of conduct. He explained how he should guard the interests of his subjects, how important gentleness in speech was, even when you realize that the one before you is an enemy and must be treated sternly. Do not hurt with words. Even in jest, do not hurt anyone's feelings, even not even the lowliest, he said, remembering how he used to make fun of Cooney's deformity when he was young and fling balls of clay at her, and thinking that possibly Cooney had nursed her ill will all her life and found her opportunity for revenge when Dashwatha planned to enthrone him. Rama explained how, even a trivial cause, might bring disaster in its wake. He then expatiated, it's one of those days, on how far one should surrender one's own judgment to another, especially out of love. Not too far, he said, referring to his own pursuit of the golden deer in order to please Sita. Woman can lead one to death, he said, revering the valley's infatuation with Sugriva's wife. At the conclusion of their meeting, Sugriva pleaded, Please do me the honor of residing as our guest in the capital. Rama said, Not now. If you have me as a guest, all your attention will be on me, while you should devote your energy to your duties as a king. Moreover, I have vowed to live in the forest for 14 years, and I cannot. Therefore, come into a city now. Sugriva was crestfallen and said, I want to serve you. Yes, later. The rainy season is coming. At the end of it, come with an army. There will be time enough. Anjaniva, now said stubbornly, I have no existence separated from you. I want to serve you. I wish to be with you forever. Rama said, Not now. You will go back to Kishinda and Sugriva and help him. He will need your judgment and support, as the responsibilities he has inherited are immense. Your first duty will be to help him. Come to me after 4 months after the rains, and I will tell you what you can do for me. When Sugriva still pressed his invitation, Rama said, I lost my wife, and I should not be said to be enjoying the luxuries of a palace, when perhaps she is undergoing untold suffering somewhere. After sending away Sugriva and Hanuman, Rama turned back with Lakshmana to reside on the hill. At a chosen spot, Lakshmana, displaying again his genius as an architect, constructed an ashram in which he should spend the coming rainy months, and where Rama could serenely contemplate his future course of action. The sun began to move southward. Dark clouds, heavily laden, floated along, frequently eclipsing the sun, gradually massing themselves like an army of gigantic elements. Thunders rumbled and soared, lightning lit, and the sky and the earth end to end. storm shook the trees, ripped off their foliage, and scattered it in the air, scored, scoured the earth, and sprayed up the mud and dust, just as we felt the total heat and aridity where Takata used to roam. Now he must feel under our skin the dampness, the dimness, and the apparent lifelessness of the rainy days. All through the months, the rains poured, waters running, rushing, and stagnating in pools, and sometimes carrying down boulders of their portion to the mountainside. Cockatoos and nightingales were silent. Peacocks were unseen. Other creatures of the forest were incinerated in a stony recesses and caves. No animals stirred about, no movement. Every kind of life seemed to have become paralyzed. Running and uncouth vegetation overran the landscapes in a variety of monstrous creepers and vines. The sky was perpetually overcast. Winds blew cold and damp and drenched one's surroundings and person. For a few days, the change of season was fascinating, but in course of time, the persistent gloom and wetness proved depressing. Rama, isolated in this climate, became subject to long periods of melancholy. The surrounding conditions made his inner turmoil more acute. He now felt hopelessly cut off from his wife, and no action to seek her ever seemed possible. He felt thwarted and desolate. He began to feel guilty. He thought he was being too complacent. Why I live sheltered here, I cannot imagine the misery she must be facing. When she saw foaming, frothing, reddish flooding rushing down the mountain, bearing and rolling uprooted roots, he was reminded of Sita being carried off. It created a hopeless ache in his heart, and he said to himself, "There is no meaning in continuing to live." When he saw streaks of lightning splitting the sky, he pictured them as the monstrous fangs of Aswaras grinning and menacing him on all sides, and he pleaded, "Just when one of your clan has been taken away, the very core of my life, you want to take more. Nothing more is left." When he saw an occasional deer emerge from its shelter, when the downpour slackened a little, he addressed it. "You were jealous of Janaki. She was your rival in the grace of her moments. Now are you not pleased that she is no longer here? One of your kind drew me away from her. Now what is your purpose? What is your purpose in strutting before me?" When he saw a slender streak of lightning edge a cloud, he sighed. "Why should you remind me of Sita's figure and vanish again? When you rumble, does it signify your determination to restore Sita to me?" Then he addressed the god of love, Manmata. "You are a tormentor. I feel scorched, and while I seek something to heal me, your darts stab again and again the same sore spot at my heart. Merciless God, it is your good fortune that you are unseen, which saves you, my brother, who would have eliminated you if he had seen you torture me. Do you know what happened to Sorpanaka?" Lakshmana noticed Rama's state of mind and felt it was time for him to confront him. He said, "Are you worried that the rainy days are prolonged? Are you worried that the Ashwara might prove invincible? Do you fear that Janaki may not be traced at all? Please do not let your mind weaken. Anjaniya is there, Angada, and all the stalwarts to be our helpers. Soon you will see the skies bright and clear. Time has been passing, and we will soon see the promised armies. And with ease they will bring Janaki to your side. You had assured the sages of Dankata forest that you would eradicate the Ashwaras from their midst, and there has been your chief mission there. Muster your strength and fulfill your mission. Don't let your spirit droop. Rama was confronted by such words, and they sustained him through a second bout of rain, which suddenly started after a brief interval of clear weather. I'm going to stop here. We're on page 201.